Did you know you can get Ivy League level education for free? In fact, you can literally teach yourself anything. If you feel like your brain has rotten from scrolling all the time, the best way to get your brain back is to learn again. But not in a boring way. We're going to find the sweet spot that learning is so enjoyable and fun that you don't want to scroll anymore. When people ask me what my life goal is, if money is out of the picture, the little nerd in me wanted to say that I just want to go back to college and study in different fields and do that over and over again, because there are so much joy in learning the things that you don't have to learn. So in 50 years, if you see a 75 years old Chinese lady sitting in your grandson's class, don't be surprised. But since that might not be happen anytime soon, the good news is we can learn anything for fun. We are living in a very, very awesome time. I know learning is not always fun because it does require our brain to do very hard things. I'm going to show you my system step by step that you can use it to learn anything super fast, but also in a fun way. I use this to teach myself calculus, UX design, which got me a job. I learned everything related to YouTube, which helped me grow this channel. So the first step is to decide what you want to learn. Instead of trying to learn everything or just trying to learn the most useful thing, it's important to find something we're truly interested in, so we can replace scrolling with learning. It doesn't have to be a specific skill. It can be just something you are super curious about. It can be ancient Chinese history, cats, biology, how to write a book. So let's take 2 minutes. Let's get a pen and paper out. Just write down everything that you're interested in learning. Just write everything down on the paper. I'm gonna do that right now. So now among all those things, we want to pick one thing that you want to learn the most. I know it might be hard to pick just one thing, but it's very important to keep it focused, because the more things we want to learn at the same time, the less likely we actually try to get into them. So to help you, there are a couple questions you can ask when you are picking. Like, what seems the most exciting to you? Do you think it would be beneficial to you, like in a non-hobby way? Can you represent your learning results in any way? Like a project, gifts to others, you can put on a show, presentations, anything that you will have a very tangible result will be really good. So I decided to learn more about how to build an app. My reasons are I actually had to take a lot of classes about coding back when I was college for my major, but I actually never liked the coding that much. I'm just not a big computer science girl. However, I have always super fascinated about how to build an app. I worked as a UX designer for a while. Oh, and the other reasons is now there's so many cool AI apps out there can help you build an app. And there are things like a vibe coding. So I think it would be a good time for me to learn more about it. And it would be super cool to have the ability to build an app. The second step is do as much research as possible. We want to take 20 minutes and then we just go online and we read as much things as possible about how to learn this topic. You don't have to start reading the books. You can just read some blogs about people recommending how to learn this thing, or you can see people recommend YouTube channels, Reddit, and then obviously from there, you can just go to wherever it takes you to. And we want to dump everything in a document. I use Notion, but you can just put it in a doc. Maybe mark some in a few keywords, like what's special about this material, or what did they mention that you think is super interesting, or what options you have. So you can get a sense of what's a typical way to learn this thing and have just some basic understanding about the field and what is like beginner level, what is professional level. Now, step 3 is to set a goal. Now you may understand what is your current level. You may have zero experience, or you may have learned this thing before, or it may be related to your major. So you do know some things, but it's not directly related. So based on your current level, you want to set a goal that is very reasonable for you to achieve. Don't give yourself too much pressure. Really ask yourself, why do you want to learn this thing in the first place? Go back to the step 1 and see why you picked this one among all the other things you're interested in, and really use that reason as your goal. I decided to learn about vibe coding because I want to build an app. So I set my goal as to build a very simple personal app, something fun but useful to me. It can be super easy, like a to-do list or a habit tracker. I don't want to start with a learning plan that's like, I'm going to take a course on database, which may be useful at some point just to help me understand what's going on. However, right now, I'm not that interested in that. If I start taking a class on that, I will lose interest very fast. Similarly, if you decided to learn crochet because you watched those super cute crochet animals, you like them so much, set your goal as you want to make that animal. Don't set your goal as, oh, you want to learn color theory. Just don't do that to yourself. You will lose interest so fast. And it will be super awesome if your end goal is a project-based, because that will just basically force us to do active learning the entire time, and it will try to apply things we learned to an actual thing. So make this just more fun and more engaging. Step 4 is to pick materials and resources. We can go back to all of the resources we collected in step 2 and then do a little bit deeper review on them. We actually want to pick 3 types of materials as our main learning materials. The first one is going to be super micro learning. It's just going to be very relaxed and fun. You can do it whenever, when you have a little bit of time. Ideally, you can just do it on your phone. So you can replace your scrolling time to this thing. For me, Duolingo is a super good one. If you're trying to learn a language, audiobooks are something that I enjoy a lot as well. So whenever I have time, I just put it up on my phone and start doing some of those like super micro lessons. The second one is you want to pick a media that we can consume. I love watching movies, shows so much. If I watch a show and it's about a specific thing, that just gives me so much motivation because it's just such a vibe. Documentaries, TV shows that have the same setting. Again, the goal of this is to provide motivation, but also replace some of your scrolling time with slightly more meaningful learning. One of the problems I encounter is that sometimes I spend a long time searching for a perfect show that I really, really want to watch, only to discover it's not available in my location. So what are we going to do? That's why I was super excited to found Surfshark VPN, which allows me to change my location to where it's available, and voila, I can watch it now. I'm Chinese, if you don't know, so I often watch Chinese shows. It's just so nice to have a very reliable VPN. With Surfshark VPN, you can access content from different locations thanks to its large network of over 3,200 servers in over 100 countries. It also helps reduce buffering and lag with fast, reliable connections, so you don't have to wait forever for loading. Plus, there's no limit on devices, so everyone can stream. When I'm working or just learning in general, one of the things that help me a lot is I love to go to coffee shops and libraries. It gives me a change of mood, but also a better environment. But public Wi-Fi can be super dangerous, so it can put my devices at risk of identity thieves or fraudulent purchases. But with Surfshark VPN, we get an extra layer of security while we're online, and it protects our data while we're using public Wi-Fi. Surfshark antivirus also shields our device from viruses, malwares, and tracking by ad companies and bots, so we can make sure our devices are safe. The best part is there's no risk in trying Surfshark. They offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, so go to surfshark.com/Jungle or use my code Jungle at checkout to get 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN. And thank you so much, Surfshark VPN, for sponsoring this video. And now we want to go back to the last type of materials we need. This is something we can do deeper learning, and potentially we need to block out like a time, sit down and do super deep focus. And this is where we'll be making the most progress, like taking courses, free classes on YouTube, or books. And in this case, will be me learning the classes and working on building my app. So we can go look at reviews like on Reddit, or like if it's a book, we want to read reviews as well. So we want to really base on our goal, experience, and level to determine what is the best material. Taking the factors, what type of learner you are. If you love to read books, that will be maybe a better way to learn things. But if you more of like a visual person, you only can learn when things are visually presented, you may want to go with like the YouTube route. So finally, step 5, we want to make a plan. The way I like to do things is first, I want to make a SMART goal. S is specific, like be clear of what exactly you want to do. For me, I will learn the basic of app development and build a simple personal app. something fun or useful to me, like a habit tracker, like a mood journal, or idea notebook. Measurable, define how you will track your progress and success. Like my plan is to complete one beginner course, which will be less than an hour per week. This can be also a tutorial. So these are the courses I'm going to take. And I aim to have my first prototype in the first 2 months. The third thing is to make sure it's achievable. Like make sure your goal is very realistic. Ambitious goals are great, but if you don't feel like it's doable, it's going to be super demotivating. So what I will do is I want to do 2 to 3 hours at least per week on deep learning and building, but then I would take another 2 to 3 hours just on one relaxing learning, like taking fun micro lessons on my phone or watching shows. The next one is relevant. Make sure your goal aligns with your interest and your personal growth. This is where you can connect it to a bigger picture, because for me, building an app is something I'm just interested in general, but I think it would be super cool if I can launch my app, launch my business one day, and just learning more about that feels like a little bit step closer. Time bound. Give yourself a deadline. This don't have to be the final deadline, just something that helps us to keep track of our progress and make it a bit more feel like a commitment. If you want to be a little bit more specific, you can list which classes or which courses you're going to watch each week. Because for me, like every week I want to work 2 to 3 hours. I may want to list the exact chapter or the exact video I'm going to do in that 2 hours every week. But you don't have to. As long as you have a syllabus or a structure to follow, you are fine. So you can be a little bit more flexible. Once we hit the deadline, we can reconsider and rebuild this whole thing. You can change your goal, or you can continue to learn a little bit deeper. So I want to do this for 3 months, like a season. And the final goal will be, I want to be able to share my first working app by February 1st, 2026. Hopefully I will have my first prototype in 2 months, and then have another month to get a little bit improvement and actually have it working. The last step is to execute, which don't give yourself too much pressure. This is supposed to be fun. Learning is supposed to be fun. This should be something you just genuinely curious about and excited about. So if you actually sit down and then you make yourself a cup of tea or like your favorite drink, and then you opened your tutorial and then you start watching and you felt bored and you feel like, I hate this, I no longer want to watch this. My recommendations is first, maybe give it another try, at least try to watch maybe 1 or 2 videos or read 1 or 2 chapters. We do need to give our brain a little bit of switching time. Always at the beginning is the hardest. If you still couldn't get into it, think about if something is wrong. If this is just a boring lecture, this professor, you don't like him, or the way they're teaching, it's not clicking with you. Just try a different material, try a different way of learning. If still not, reconsider if this is something you truly want to learn. If you started feeling this is boring, this is not fun, I don't know why I'm learning this, I'd rather play on my phone, something is off. Humans have the natural curiosity in us, and we naturally have the desire to learn. And the whole point of doing this is so we can use the time wisely. Like instead of wasting our precious time on brain rotting and scrolling, we want to do something more meaningful. So you can treat this as a hobby, but I like to view it as learning, because I think everything is learning. And as long as you're practicing, you're reading, you are going to see progress. So hopefully you feel a little bit more motivated, and hopefully this video changed your mood a little bit. I would love to hear what's your learning plan and what's the stuff you're going to learn for the next 3 months. I will also keep you updated on my personal learning journey. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.